And welcome back, OCS fans. We've got a hell of a game coming up just around the corner. Of course, I'm Rogi. Joining me on the host desk tonight is Preacher. We're still here bringing you games. And Legacy Genesis, oh, they looked so damn strong last week.
They did, and you might look at their game and say, well, why are you saying that they're strong? They didn't actually get that many kills compared to other teams. But if you watched through the game, they were so meticulous and they were so detailed. It wasn't necessarily a kills game for them, but they certainly brought it along when it came to objectives. They out-rotated their enemies time and time again, and they got little leads, which led to big leads, and that was just so unstoppable.
Like, it's one of those times where they knew exactly the parameters of that game and how they were going to win it, taking an early inner turret, really calling the bluff of other team that they versed. My memory is fading a little bit right now, but they did a great job. But of course, on the other side of the rift, you got Nuovo Gaming, who up against Sin Academy had an absolute bloodbath. That game was intense. No whole buzz from start to finish. Team fight, team fight, team fight. So you got this very skirmish-heavy team in Nuovo taking on Legacy, who were meticulous, to say the least.
And it looked like for the longest time that Nuovo weren't actually going to be the victors there. Sin Academy had the lead for, it looked like, almost the entire game. And then all of a sudden it came down to two very strategically positioned fights. And I say that because all the members of Nuovo, they stood where they needed to be and they weren't where they didn't need to be. So they stood their ground. They won both of those fights. But yes, they are a skirmishing team, even into other skirmishing teams. It really will be nice to see how these two butt heads, you know, sort of the meta game, rotate versus the really bloodbath 5v5 team fight.
And we're going to have a more in-depth look at the lineup right now to see who will be fielding the roster. And you see what I see, Preach. It's going to be Minky Whale on the roster here for Legacy Genesis. So, of course, they do lose out on all their bans for this last-minute substitution, but I think it may be worth it here. Then Pabib in the jungle, Rayom in the mid lane, Zami and Reelapol rounding out the roster in that 80 carry support lineup. Then, of course, on the side of Nuovo Gaming, you got Jack Attack, you got Only, you got Cheese, Stealthix, and Starkles. What a lineup, to say the least.
What a lineup, and it really brings to question whether Minky Whale was worth the 3 bans that they would lose subsequently against Nuovo Gaming. It's not really encouraged from our end that you really sub in at the last minute to lose your bans, but when it happens, you sort of got to question it. Was it really worth Minky Whale? We've seen him perform time and time again. If he consistently wins lane in the OPL, how's he going to do in the OCS?
Look, if it's Minky Whale's Maokai, then I say yes, it's worth. If it's his Talia, maybe not so much. But regardless, they obviously needed him to step in from. He's going to be providing a wealth of experience, a player who's been around the block for quite some time. So really interested to see what he can bring to this kind of already dominant squad.
Of course, they are already dominant, and they know their strategies back to front without a shot caller, but with one, they can be even more precise. They look at Nuovo Gaming as one of their greatest rivals in this split in terms of just where they rank themselves internally, and they say, look, if we want to really take the advantage over them, then we got to bring in the big guns.
You know, it's going to be an excellent game, and of course, who better to take you there? It's Hysterics and Mendrix.
From our host tonight, and Mendrix after the last game, I mean, I always say that I'm hyped, but look, Nuovo Gaming, like Rogi said, they're a skirmish-heavy team, or I'd say they're a bloodbath-wanting team. I say that with deep.
They like to brawl.
That's exactly right. And Legacy Genesis, again, meticulous, like Preacher said. So, curious to see what happens here. We might get a mesh, we might get a team that just falls flat on their back. Minky Whale coming up. Talia is not that strong, so probably not going to see Talia. Look, you know,
you never know. She has her strengths that she can bring to the team, and she's had some recent love as well. That being said, it is, you know, the tank meta is still strong with everyone. It's still good to have that good old Maokai. It's still strong to have the tree.
I'm wrong. Not strongly utilized at the moment.
But I'd love to see Talia just to see, you know, perhaps maybe they can make it work this time. Perhaps there is something that is, you know, off meta that will actually blow everyone out of the water and have everyone spamming out those Talia games. So I wouldn't mind seeing it myself.
That's right, and whether we see something like a Fizz top, which was a big surprise to us last game, coming from the side of Exile5 with Sick, and something like a Vladimir Swain. Remember that there were big priority picks last week, and especially on 6.11, which is such a Vlaine. I'm not going to call it Vlaine. I'm going to go back to Swad.
Back to
I was going to try Vlaine, but I guess
Vlaine.
I guess that doesn't work.
I mean, it's all right. I think the Swad works a bit better. Swad works better.
Let's try Swad. Let's leave it at Swad. Look, the Swad combination is still very heavy as we do jump into Champion Select now. And first ban, remembering what Rogi said, that Legacy Genesis do lose 3 of their bans, which are all of them. Nuovo Gaming go ahead and take away Azir from Ryoma, though.
Yeah, and what performance he had on Azir in that
yeah.
particular match. So before, when he went through, he was just using that Shrimmer Shuffle, using those Emperor's Divides perfectly, absolutely splitting up the team. Even though it was, as I mentioned, very, very low in the terms of kill counts, every single time it seemed to be Azir was off the back of it, just pushing everything through. And he was just so much damage that they have, because one of the things that they bring to it, this is an objective-based game. You don't need kills if you're going to be able to take your turrets. Why would you bother even taking the kills if they're just going to wall over and die anyway? It's about killing the Nexus, not your enemy. You have to kill your enemy to get to the Nexus.
Very well said. If I didn't know League of Legends, I do now. So second ban, Zed taken away again from the side of Ryoma, as Legacy Genesis just timed that one out. And Nuovo Gaming have had quite a lot of time to think about it. Vlad away from both Ryoma and Minky Whale. That flex pick not in the hands of anyone in this game, but Swain is still definitely open.
And that's an option available for them as well. I mean, as like to say, Minky Well likes to go for the Talia.
Yeah.
He's known for his Maokais. He could probably pull out the Swain very proficiently as well. It's been a champion that's been around for quite some time. Most top laners at some point have played him or have just done quite a few spams of him. And although he's had a little bit of a rework, at the end of the day, they still know how they're supposed to play him. So I think they're probably thinking about that quite hard at the moment. They do have a few other options available to them as well. Perhaps maybe take some different priority picks for the different people in the team. Perhaps maybe get their Zami going with the Lucian. He's always been a fantastic Lucian player. So there's a lot of options. They are taking their time doing it. So really interested to see what Minky Well actually locks in. And it's the Bard. Beautiful. The Bardo.
That's all right. Well, I mean, Reelapol, again, does have a bit of flexibility with his supports. And whether it is a Brom, whether it is something like a Bard, you can be very sure that Zami and Reelapol down bottom are going to be a strong match. But taking that away from Starkles, who played him last week absolutely fantastically, I think is more of a priority.
Well, that's one of the things. It is basically a deny pick as well at the end of the day. Using, they had the Sivir and the Bard combination available to them in that particular match, and it just seemed to be one of those cases where it opened up a lot of Nuovo Gaming, or in fact gave them the wins, because it seemed to cut their teams in half or allowed them to re-engage position properly against that engaged, focused team they were going up against. But Jack Attack! Oh man, this is another person that has been in the OPL before, so he is no stranger to what Minky Well can do. And he is known for being an amazing Trundle player. They left it open, and now he's got his favorite little champion, or actually quite a big champion to keep around.
Right, and takes it away from Minky Well. If you don't remember, back in, well, I'm not sure if it was last season, but we did see Minky on Trundle at some point in his career. So Jack Attack takes that one away. Also gives himself the propulsion he needs to play such an aggressive champion. And Nidalee, who hasn't been picked tonight, gets her first round debut.
And she's one of those champions who's a bit much with the nerfs as well. Still able to take control of the game if she does get rolling early. Still able to hit really hard. The big thing that you found that they took away from her is the fact that she had that movement speed taken away from her when moving towards champions. It was 5,500 as the original range. Now it's close towards that 1,500 mark. So it's actually working to what she can actually see in vision. And there we go. So we've seen Trundle perform well, but we've seen Aurelia perform better. And that seems to be the answer to this troll. That seems to be such a problem in the meta recently.
That's right, and so Lee Sin gets picked up as well. Often see that a counter pick to the Nidalee Mendrix.
Well, one of the things he can do is he can actually get in there. She's got amazing clear, but he's got great dueling potential early. So you can actually jump in there, see if he can find her early and give her a quick execute before she can really get rolling. That being said, if Nidalee finds the drop first, she is just as capable as taking out Lee Sin as he is to her. So, it is a little bit of a gambit between the two of them. She's picking up the Swain, so we're talking about one of those priority picks. He's been, one of the SWAD combos made it into it. And now we do have as well the Sivir taken away. So really good on them to take out the Bard or have that denied Bard pick. Now you don't have that Sivir and a good old Bard combination to really wreak havoc in team fights.
This looks just like immunity back when Cheese used to play Swain in the middle lane. So this is no surprise to me that now that the meta suits it, Cheese is going to go right ahead and pick that comfort right back into his couch. So like Mendrix said, Sivir gets picked up for Stealthix, another fantastic pick. When I say that, I mean that it's comfort all over. The couch is set up across this team. Zami goes ahead and picks up Ashe and a LeBlanc for the first time tonight as well on the side of Ryoma, an assassin-type mid lane. I feel like that's kind of his specialty at the moment.
And it is a really good pick to actually throw into Swain. Swain really is strong once he gets to level 6. So if you've got a LeBlanc to jump in there, absolutely blow him up before he can really get going, get his Rod of Ages, and become that unkillable machine or unkillable crow machine that he becomes, it is really effective way to sort of deal with that. And I really do like the Ashe pick as well. She seems to be a champion that's popping up in popularity. Prey uses her amazingly. Those Ashe arrows can really change the face of a team fight or really be good in terms of starting those team fights. And the best thing about it as well to note is you have a Bard to line up your arrow. That means you can keep someone locked in place. And as soon as that ultimate ends, that Ashe arrow will instantly hit. And we're talking a full stun duration available to you.
Exactly right. And the final pick of the champion select comes from Nuovo Gaming, who decide to make it a running 4 out of 4 games tonight that we've seen the Karma support. And of course, a lot of mobility comes through that Siva Karma, who we have sort of favorited a little bit, but looks like Nuovo Gaming, they have the ability to sort of out-rotate Legacy Genesis.
Well, they need something to get Swain into the team fight. So he really needs to be able to get in there to actually lock people down and then throw all his AoE out there. Having the Karma, having the Siva allows them to do that. In terms of rotations and what they have, they're going to have a really engaged, focused composition. So they're going to be looking for flanks. They might not have the most powerful rotate to this objective, rotate to that objective. They're going to be looking to sort of find a flank, get in their face, and absolutely take it to Legacy Genesis.
So the aggressor comes out, and Legacy Genesis, of course, pick up something that hasn't been seen much, well, especially not tonight. I'm actually quite surprised they go for something a bit more bold, but a bit more Bard as well. So I honestly think, like Rogi was saying earlier in the night, Bard is still a really, really strong pick.
Oh, he's absolutely a strong pick. It's just what he brings to the team is that utility. The fact that he also has one of the strongest early games as well. The big thing that he has is he's able to actually get through, throw in a few of those Meep empowered auto attacks early. You can actually pick up a first blood just off that straight away. And if not, then as well, add to the fact that he's got a stun. He's got the ability to allow everyone to jump around walls. So it really means that you can actually start a team fight, find a way to get Lee Sin in a position to actually get those dragon kicks and knock everyone back in the team if you need be. He just provides so much to the team, add to the fact a little bit of sustain as well.
Yeah.
So this guy really is the full package in terms of what he brings to the team, especially when you're on those utility-based ADCs like the Siva, like the Ashe. It really helps synergize them better, brings more power to the combination, more power to the team fight.
So Spellcaster support's down bottom. This time it's going to be even. Instead of going for something like a Trundle support, like a Brom, like something along the lines of an Alistair, who didn't work out too much last game. They come a very, very aggressive, but so can Bard. I mean, the magic damage that comes out of both of those Magic champions is just disgusting.
And it just seems to be one of those shifts in the meta as well, because one of the big advantages of having a caster support means you can actually do a lane swap more effectively. Legacy Genesis used this to their advantage in the game last week. They were actually able to push towers down faster. That gave them a big advantage early, and they were able to absolutely stomp Alpha Sydney from that point onwards. But then the big thing about it as well we need to note down from that is that with these teams now having those advantages with the caster support means that it's a lot more basically those playmakers still can do what they need to do is what I'm trying to say, but caster supports are a lot safer in terms of making sure that they can remain back and just siege from the far side.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the last game of the night, Legacy Genesis versus Nuovo Gaming. Both teams picked up a win last week. Nuovo a bit shy of losing theirs, but Legacy Genesis still definitely in a stomping. And you see Minky Whale on one of his favorite champions again. And if it's going to be someone to take down the Trundle, well, then you'd think Aurelia would be a fantastic start. Both corrupting potions in the start. They're going to start out pretty slow up there. But nevertheless, another lane to keep your eye on.
And so these guys really, they wanted to make sure they get those deep wards in so they have an idea of what each team is going to go for. Are they going to go for the lane swap? Because whoever initiates that lane swap first, if the other team doesn't have any knowledge of it, they'll be on the back foot because of it. And that's why all these deep wards are on that bottom side of the lane, because that means it lets you see what the bottom lane are doing. Are they going towards the top lane, or will they continue to be standard across the board? And looks like Nuovo Gaming wants to continue to have a fight where they should have a bit of an advantage against Bard purely because there's a bit more wave clear on the side of Stealthix early, whereas Zami will struggle to get everything, even with that folly available to her, will struggle to get that wave pushing forward.
So Jack Attack, no teleport, helps out with the Gromp for only. But Zami and Realpol help and start the Krug. So Stealthix and Starkles both have a bit of a health advantage. However, when it comes to CS, it looks like Zami is going to go ahead and pick up that level 2 first. But I don't think it really matters too much with an Ashe when you compare it to Stealthix, who has full health and can trade. Jack Attack without the teleport gives Legacy Genesis a small bit of information that they can definitely use in this early game.
Yeah, it's one of those cases using the teleport early isn't the biggest deal, especially that they haven't done their lane swaps. Because the thing is, by the time anything really does break up, where everyone break out across the map in terms of fighting, where they have abilities, where they, at that level 6 mark, or where they're at the level 4 mark, that teleport is pretty much up there. That burst damage from LeBlanc is just huge.
Still trades.
But she's trading back pretty decently. That damage of a time ain't nobody's fault.
That's exactly right. So Ryoma are going to continue to have to be wary of this middle lane. Everyone farming quite nicely to start off the game. And Slow and Steady wins the race. Only moving to his red has gotten that right side jungle. Looks like Babip going to follow suit as well. Krug's already getting taken out. Means that Babip not going to have that spawn for the next couple of seconds. Well in time to get his red buff. But goes ahead and picks that one up. Only already down to the Krugs, and yeah, that's some explosive damage from Starkles. What to expect from Karma when you're expecting, well, nothing of the good. Because Starkles actually knows, picks up the exhaust, and Realpol goes for the more offensive Ignite for this bottom lane. But so far, it looks like Legacy Genesis are on the defensive. But for how long?
Yeah, Nova really have dominance in that bot lane, purely looking at in terms of, well, look how low Zami is in comparison to Stealthix, and Stealthix still has the Biscuit. So that means he's actually got a lot more sustain to remain in there. He missed that there, but he still picks it up in the end.
That's alright. It happens.
It happens. Well, it's a bit annoying because that crab can jump any which way it wants to halfway. They're jumping on Minky.
So Minky, while he eats a spear, he also eats a pillar, forced to flash out. Only not going to follow this one. If they do get a flash out of Minky, well, it's going to force him out of top lane.
Babbitt now just making his way into that bottom side jungle for the red side, seeing if he can actually pick up a little bit of extra resources for that gank that they forced up in the top lane. Teleport now, so one of the advantages of saving it beforehand means he can just get back to lane when he needs to. And now he also has an item advantage with that good old corrupting potion as well. So he went for the last hit there and just used a shield to stop it.
bit painful for Zami, but he gets over it quite quickly. Cheese looks for Babip, finds a ward on him. Never Move doesn't hit. The Crow goes down.
Jumping on Aurelia again.
Minky, while getting bullied, is he going to eat another spear? Only is actually quite low. And remember that Aurelia can clean this up. Being level 4 has a bit of excess damage. Has a bit of lifesteal as well coming from that hit 10 style passive. Only backs off though. And Minky gets a little bit of freedom for a little bit of time. I'm sure Only will be back.
A little bit of deja vu in terms of the compositions fighting up in the top lane there. There's an Aurelia, and the jungler seems to be putting a lot of attention there. But Minky is actually holding out a little bit better in comparison. Hasn't given up any kills yet. So if he manages to maintain his position, he'll actually be quite strong the longer the game goes on. Actually hit his power spike sooner than what Kanade did.
Exactly right. And Kanade sort of took a bit to get going. See if Minky well can kind of digress that. Stealthix continuing to farm down bottom. Quite even across the map. However, Ryoma getting pushed out in that mid lane. At least a couple of waves behind Cheese at this stage.
As I mentioned before, the teleport is now up for Jack Attack at a point in time where you would actually want to have it, whereas Mickey Wow now does not have it. So, bit of an advantage there. A lot of trading there hitting Ryoma with.
Ryoma gets nothing on Cheese. The sustain is going to kill him at this stage, and Cheese forces Ryoma a bit further back. Ryoma tries that again. He's not going to survive.
Another thing to note as well, there is a CS advantage beginning to build for Cheese. So, he hasn't even gone back to the lane yet. And that's probably why LeBlanc had to get on out of there. And that's about 10 minions there. Wow, the damage is real.
The Ignite goes onto Starkles, but Realpol doesn't have any mana to follow this up. There is the... Oh my god, Needly!
Very good flash.
That one was tight and Only forced a flash out, but almost picks up first blood on Realpol.
And that was just well done there by Rilapol, actually getting in there, putting a lot of damage out onto Starkles. Seems to bait out Only. Only almost gets the kill there, but with a nice fancy flash, forces a bit of a trade there of summoners. And Roma now jumping onto Cheese.
Misses everything. The never move is available, I believe.
Wow. That is just...
He just can't do anything. That's exactly right. Ryoma forced out of lane again. Not sure if he wants to stay around for this one. Jack Attack and Minkiewell butting heads up top, but Minkiewell has actually retained some small CS advantage for now.
The wave is pushing into Jack Attack as well, so that means that he'll be able to pick up what he seems to be down at the moment as soon as it gets closer to him.
Yep.
So fairly even across the board up in that top lane. Nuovo Gaming doing a great job at the moment, sort of dealing with this more aggressive early game team that Legacy Genesis have put together.
Only steals the blue buff. That's a bit of a shame. Doesn't matter though, folks. You know, there's always more where that came from.
It'll be up in another 7 minutes. It'll be fine. Sorry, 5 minutes.
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Where are you getting these times from?
So 7 minutes Baron, 6 minutes Dragon,
Okay.
5 minutes buffs.
You're a wondrous, knowledgeable, knowledgeable person. But look, gold across the board, like you said, Mendrix, it's quite even. However, Nuovo from, I guess you could say from that top and bottom, have a small advantage. As Babip just stands there, safeguards across, Only looking for the final spear, almost takes one to the face, and Babip backs out before he can even get 6. And Only is 2 levels ahead of this Lee Sin.
He's got an extra 10 CS as well, so power farming a bit more, while Cheese was probably looking for some more opportunities.
There's your blue. There it is.
It was all
He doesn't even touch that one.
It was all planned.
Only doesn't even touch that blue buff. He's like, my bad, my bad.
So he's like, all right, I'll take my one, and then you get their one.
That is scary. A Nidalee with blue buff and a Swain with blue buff. I mean, mid lane is going to be very, very scary.
One of the things to note now is that with the changes, wow.
Oh my god.
Damage over time.
Not cool, man. Ryoma forced out of lane. He's actually going to stick around for the time being, but Only knows what Ryoma's all about, so he's going to throw himself around as well. And I hope we don't see what we saw in the OCS last split, and Nidalee who can just walk around the map.
It seems to be the case in this game, or the
coming up.
story of this game. He's just been walking around doing whatever he wants, Only loving everything across the board there. Decides to pick up the Scuttle Crab for his own troubles there. Just getting extra control for his team. No deaths though yet. We still at the 9 minutes 30 mark with a lot of close calls so far.
Of course, Rift Herald is up, Dragon is up as well. Bullying in the top lane. Minkiewell pushes that wave in. Jack Attack can try and achieve what he can from it. Down bottom though, we still see a bit of a stalemate with a Cull getting picked up for Stealthix. And instead, it looks like Zami picks up a longsword instead. Prioritizing just a bit of a rush coming through.
Well, really going for the Essence Reaver is what Zami wants to pick up there. Gives everything Ash really needs to remain and sustain in lane. Means she will always have the mana available to her to go into or throw out that enchanted crystal arrow whenever she needs to. And that ward is still there. So they know exactly when that buff is going to be coming and back up.
That's all right. So look, Babip, not as much vision control, Only knows exactly where he is. Some pings going across the map to indicate that. Only picks up the Krugs. Level 8. Babip caught up, level 7 now. So not as much as we thought, but still approaching as Cheese. He gets Sonic Wave. There is the Dragon's Rage. Forced to flash out, but the sustain's still there. Jack Attack.
Wow.
Teleports in. There's a teleport from Minkiewell. Ash Arrow straight through the middle.
Wow.
Sonic Wave! Ladies and gentlemen, first blood goes straight ahead. Jack Attack. He's not going to go down, but that Q from Mr. Lee Sin makes everything so much nicer.
Now, a really nice follow-up teleport by Minkiewell to make sure that Swain wouldn't get away alive. It seemed to be him bullying out everyone for that period of time. They're jumping onto Starkles now.
Starkles gets the slow from Rilapol. A little bit of excess damage comes out as well. Rilapol trades off with Starkles. Nothing going to happen off of it, but
It looked like they're about to jump onto it, and Zami's like, sorry, gotta go. There's some farm down here I need to get to. Selfix really pushing it in there. Oh, Ryoma. Nice little dodge on the side.
dodges a javelin toss. Gonna be okay for now. Babip is back. Sonic Wave misses. Ryoma takes a full hit. There is the combination.
Wow.
Chains of Corruption go down, but Only backs off. There is the troll pole of a different kind, and Babip safeguards Ryoma, and nothing again gonna happen, but some really close calls.
And now that they've got a massive advantage there in the mid lane in terms of that they're low, they don't have as much mana, they've got a fully stacked Cheese ready back from the summoner's platform, ready to push it on out, and probably just cleared out very quickly by a nice strong mimic there. So never mind, he decided he wants to go pick up the Raptor camp instead.
Zami continuing to farm down bottom. Things are still very, very tight. However, this time Cheese looks like to be the successor in the middle lane. Minky very good to teleport in that last little fight, little skirmish, I should say, and Jack Attack follows that one up. There is the Tempered Fate. It gets someone. That's all that matters. Only still waiting for the Javelin Toss, but doesn't get it. Falls a little bit short. But a really, really nice ult from Rilapel to keep them safe.
Yeah, it was great because it actually locked down the person who was the follow-up. Sort of the second punch after the engage that they threw out there. They got him low enough. If a spear had managed to land, that would have been a really quick and dead Rilapel there. But Nuovo Gaming getting a little bit of an extra advantage and going for that dragon.
I think they are going to pick it up. Wow, okay. Sonic Wave must have been just the tiniest bit short.
Just short.
And Nuovo pick up the first dragon of the game, which was an Ocean Dragon. So going to get a little bit extra pain from Cheese. And I think from a Swain, that's, you know, you can call Ocean Dragon, you know, one of the least effective. But for a Swain, all he has to do is sit out of combat for 5 to 8 seconds and he's fine.
Yeah, he pretty much gets back all that mana that he lost. And everyone says Ocean Drake's one of those annoying ones to have, you know, in terms of in-game fighting stats or actually combat stats. Well, the big thing to note, we're still well and truly into the laning phase. Cheese, though, jumping onto Babbitt, showing us what he can do with a blue buff and that Ocean Drake when he's got full mana. But as was mentioning with the Ocean Drake, it's really good to have in the laning phase because if you happen to lose a trade, just hang back a little bit. Ocean Drake does the work, well, removes all that work that they had done, and it means you can continue to remain in lane. It means you should be able to sustain a bit better against the other team. They have to do a lot more work to really push you out.
Ryama moves to the aggressive, but instead moves to top. Actually comes back down as Babip is nearby. Cheese sitting mid, just soaking up all this farm. Very, very close to the Rod of Ages, which he so desperately needs. Minky continuing to build towards that Trinity Force now. First item's only coming to Babip, who has that Warrior Enchantment, and Runic Echo's 4 only as well. Essence of the Reaver finally picked up for Zami, but everyone is very, very close to their first item. And a nice Titanic Hydra coming through for Jack Attack instead of the Ravenous. But nothing going to happen mid either.
I do like the Titanic Hydra pickup for Jack Attack there. He still has enough sustain with his Kin's Tribute passive, so everything's good for him there. The big thing that comes to it is that at the end of the day, Minky does true damage. No matter what you're building in terms of defensive stats, at the end of the day, he's going to just chew through at the moment that hit 10 style pops on. So now that they have... Now that he's got more just full stacked up HP, it means he can actually stay there and deal a bit more damage. And also, if he decides to pick up a Thorn Mail later, he's got a bit more HP that they need to chew through as well to actually get through, which means he's doing even more damage on top of everything that he's going to be pulling out.
So only Secure Scuttle gets a bit more vision down the bottom side of the map. Of course, moves back to that middle lane, which very hard to learn a Javelin Toss, but here we go. Mendrix, this is going to be it as Cheese goes through. Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike doesn't follow. Ash Arrow, just for the sake of it, does hit someone.
And that's a TP down now for Nuovo Gaming. So Minky Wow's got a little bit of creative room available to him. They're really trying to get on Cheese, make sure he can't get going. The lands on to Babip.
Wants it. Doesn't go through with it. Ryoma was on
Nice
a
little
little bit of health. I feel like that's what Only was looking for. And the pink ward remains in that brush. No, not anymore.
Oh, well, now they know that it's there, so they'll be able to take it out swiftly. Minky Well, someone they do not want to deal with right now. Stelfix doing some work on to that tower, and here is a fight that could possibly start.
Good rotation in the mid lane. Stelfix almost picking up that middle turret. Jack Attack remains in that blue side jungle.
They're jumping in for it.
I think so. Jack Attack gets stunned. Ryoma's there with the burst. Minky Whale follows up, looking for that hit 10 style to do a bit of extra damage. But this is an Aurelia you see mid-game. What's going on with Minky as he goes for Cheese now? Cheese has a bit of sustain, so he goes in, sets the Crow down, forces the passive out of LeBlanc. Javelin Toss doesn't hit Zami, only by a toe, though. And it's just going to be 1 for nothing for Legacy Genesis.
you're looking at everything that's happening across the map, Nuovo Gaming just seems to be in control. They're the ones there first to the objective. They're the ones stealing away things from Legacy Genesis, but they're clawing back any little advantages that are being gained purely based off that extra kill count, that extra gold count. They're showing that they know how to start a fight, how to end it, or how to really start a skirmish and take control of it. And if something goes wrong, they're able to get out. That's what's useful with having such mobile champions like Lee Sin, like LeBlanc. They seem to be able to get the kill, get the dirty work done, and get out.
So, Dragon, almost under 2 minutes now. Next Dragon coming on. We're going to have to see as we get closer to the time. But definitely something to look out for as we do have a look at this. Another Ocean Drake coming through. So, very detrimental for Swain, especially for that sustain. And I should say Jack Attack as well, who already has so much sustain in lane. Minky Whale just moves down the grass, doesn't care. Just going to move back. Yeah, I was in here, but no one's coming, so we'll just go back to turret. No worries.
Got the Triforce there, so he's not going to be able to 2v1 just yet because no one's coming into it. He still has that teleport on Jack Attack, which means that the moment Nuovo Gaming goes a little bit too deep, they're going to be jumping into it. They're setting up for it now.
There is the Ash Arrow coming through. The magical journey is more magical than ever as the resonating strike hits and Reelapol picks up a Bard kill. Tempered Fate doesn't hit anyone as you saw Stealthic having to flash. Minky Whale does teleport down, so 4 members of Legacy are going to try this turret out for size.
And that was just amazing control that they showed there. Everyone's sitting there going, hey, you know what, guys? This is going to be one of those games where we do need to get those kills before we can pick up those objectives. Nuovo are playing a tight game. They set it up perfectly using their engaged teams. There's still fights happening around the map.
Never Move doesn't hit Ryoma, so he's going to back off. Cheese just gets all his health back like we know too well. Only backs off, doesn't actually, I think actually did pick up his own blue buff. Cheese is there for a bit of backup. But again, we just see Legacy Genesis playing with fire and not getting burnt.
They do have control over the Drake at the moment.
Is
So
that
they
pink
might
still
be able
there?
to push it. Yeah, it is still there.
Pink's still there. Is that a new one or not?
I don't know. I mean, they put a ward down, so it's possible it's a new pink because they would have known that it was there.
Maybe
who knows?
cheese, a bit of cheese from Cheese maybe, or only cheese. You can see what I'm talking about there. And the turret goes down. The gold lead now evening
There
out
we
across
go.
the board.
You got it.
Thank you, Minky Whale. Very, very good. But only decides that in this time that the pink ward is being discovered. Let's look at the Rift Herald.
And Nuovo are switching on. Objectives are being taken by them across the map. This is a great time to pick up the Rift Herald as well. Because one of the big things they have about it is about to disperse. The Rift Herald is about to leave. He's thinking, no worries, I can go back into my vacation, back into the void. My job here is done on the Rift. But Nuovo jump in there, take them out instantly. That's a very long time. That big troll is going to have a nice, juicy void buff.
So Nuovo still definitely well into the game as Jack Attack picks up that buff. Actually, one of the longest lasting buffs in the game at the moment.
Persist through death?
Exactly right. So, I mean, why wouldn't you want to pick it up? Especially before it goes away. Baron coming up in 10 seconds, but no team really in a position to utilize that just yet. Oriama playing very, very cheeky. And still hasn't died yet after all that persistence from Cheese. Still lives on. Maybe 40 CS down. May also be half an item down, if I dare say. But lives on.
And does have the Morellonomicon as well, so if the fight is to go out there, they can instantly take it out. And Legacy Genesis looking to pick up the Dragon for themselves there. Nuovo Gaming just not really in any position to take that. It's just a nice, easy pickup for Legacy Genesis. And now some contention around this mid turret.
This is just a very solid rotation, as Javelin Toss misses, Never Move doesn't. Ash Volley and the Cosmic Binding go through as Reelapol drops a Sentry Ward on the side there. Jack Attack moving down. Pink himself. And we're going to see if they can out-rotate Nuovo. Looking for a bit of a fight here, but Legacy Genesis just want the pick.
And that's exactly what they have. They've got the team that can really do it. The moment someone steps out of place, an Enchanted Arrow, a Tempered Fate, a LeBlanc just jumping on top of you and just blowing you up as she does. There they go!
Tempered Fate, speak of the devil. Poor only flashes away from the Ash Arrow, but it's not enough as Ryoma picks up a bursty kill. And Babib was on the side there, but now he's in front. He's leading the charge. And that middle turret, how long will it stand for?
They're talking about looking for the pick, and they instantly get it there. And this is exactly what they need to do. Cheese, though, wants to jump in. What damage!
The passive comes through Ryoma. Oh my god! Swain is huge at the moment. And you can see that Rod of Ages doing work definitely on the Spectral Cow, and for good reason.
My.
That
Rome was just like, I was just there, and then I was out, and then I was gone anyway.
huge.
What would happen that Swain happened that he is really pumping out now. His Rod of Ages is on its way to being stacked. And one of the things that Ryoma doesn't have is any magic resistance. He really needs to go and get himself an Abyssal Scepter. Otherwise, this is going to happen time and time again.
You look at Cheese, he stopped that mid lane turret that could have potentially gone down for Legacy Genesis, but instead he backs it off and does a step further and takes out the mid laner as well. Nuovo, despite being some kills down, are in the driver's seat for the gold capacity as we move into the mid-game stage. One dragon all, and that is an Ocean Drake for both teams. Definitely well utilized by Nuovo. Legacy Genesis, of course, just going to take that one away. Minky Whale, is he caught here, Mendrix? No, he flashes away. Nothing going to happen except go to half health from a Swain. And Cheese is just massive.
Well, Aurelia's at that point as well. All she really has is a Hex Drinker, so Minky needs to really get some more beefiness in it because he can't really handle the Swain at the moment. He needs a little bit more durability to jump in there and absolutely blow him up. Otherwise, Cheese is going to finish the same, but they're jumping on it anyway.
So it's a 1v1. No one is down there. Minky Whale, can he take out Cheese? I don't think so. I think he realizes this straight away. Kites around. Oh, the outplay, but no, the never move with the flush. There's the crow. There's the stun. And Minky Whale, too cheeky for his own good.
I just mentioned it before. He can't handle him at the moment. I don't know why he went for it, but that damage, Ryoma!
Oh! The Ash Arrow doesn't get anyone.
It's going to get Swain. Oh, we'll never know. I know. It
Yes.
flew out of the map. Oh, wow.
So a 1-for-1 trade across the board. Starkles goes down just out of a bit of overconfidence. Minky Whale goes down over the same thing. These mid laners are making work for both teams.
And just really the difference between the two. We're talking about this long, sustained fight that seemed to go for about 30 seconds, a little bit of outplay running around the side, and the comparison to Roma's just jumping in there, absolutely blowing up the support. Starkles is going to have a bad time because Ryoma has still continued to build pure damage, probably going to pick up a Void Staff, so going to have a lot of Magic Pen instantly chewing through anything someone's bought so far.
Jack Attack sits in the try up top. The second try, I should say, Ryoma. Looking for the blue. There's the pillar. Sonic Wave. Going to secure this one. No blue going over to the side of Trundle, but Jack Attack sticks very, very close. Reelapult does have Tempered Fade up. So all ultimates up across the board.
Looking for a pick. There they go for it.
Tempered Fate lands on Jack Attack. Minky Whale teleports in. Now what's he going to do? He flashes over the wall. Sonic Wave hits with a nice resonating strike. He's going to go for the Cribble. The Dragon Rage come in. Nice Crystal Arrow. There's the Dragon's Rage. And a Cosmic Binding secures this one. And Babbitt picks up another kill.
Nuovo going straight for that mid lane. See if they can bar down with that little positional advantage. Oh, that damage!
I was going to say, was it worth? Ryoma almost taking out Starkles. Nuovo disengage immediately, but Ryoma takes a Javelin Toss, which almost ends his life. So many members doing so much burst damage across the map. I'm really not sure who to watch.
Starkles is going to be in a lot of trouble. He needs to get himself a Banner of Command, get him some form of magic resistance so Zammy just can't pop in, blow him up, pop out. And just going to be interesting there. And I think I said Zammy, I meant Ryoma.
Cheese does have his Zhonya's, so he went for his Zhonya's over everything, prioritizing, of course, Zammy and giving him a bit of respect across the board, especially with Babip as well. And you can't forget Minky Whale, who's really coming into his power trough 25 minutes into the game. Second item's built for a lot of the carries, or a lot of the tanks as well. Going for the Maw of Malmortius straight into that instead of pausing at this Hex Drinker. Minky Whale goes and builds onto his third as he picks up a turret to the side of Legacy Genesis. Of course, a lot of items across the board means that teamfights are starting to get very, very brutal. Phantom Dancer for Stealthix. Of course, Starkles starts building onto that Athene's and Holy Angel. Remembering now, Mendrix, that with that new item, you can heal with Karma Shields.
That's right, you can actually stack up shields on top of it as well. So it's one of those things where you can keep on building your shield stacks, making sure you've got a little bit extra on top as well. And the other thing that you have to mention, with that Maul of Modes that has been picked up by Mickey, well, he now has the tools to sort of bring it to Swain, actually take him on. But Nuovo Gaming seem to have a bit of extra coverage around the map and picking up an easy Ocean Drake.
Second one of their existence.
This seems to be the Ocean map.
The Ocean, well, welcome to Oceanic League.
Welcome to Oceanic League, here we are, well and truly.
We
the Oceanic Challenger
really
Series.
endorse
the
that
Ocean
next
Drake.
one?
Oh, Cloud, okay.
No, we do see
Fine.
that was a Ocean Drake, that last one there. But the
Well, it
Cloud
was,
coming
now
up
it's Cloud.
next. Definitely one to highlight as well. 2 Ocean Drakes on the board now for Nuovo Gaming. Their gold lead, however, still stands at 1K. 3 turrets, 2. And with all these objectives getting taken by Legacy Genesis, they're kind of evening out the scoreboard. They're falling a little bit behind in the farm game, especially in that mid and bot lane. And you can see there's so many power spikes coming for the side of Nuovo Gaming, but just having said that, you know, you look at Legacy Genesis as well, and they've got the same thing going on.
You also have an Executioner's Call in there picked up by Ash, so very good. Oh. You should be saying, like, do it, like, get that red buff.
No, I wanted Babip to go. I wanted the resonating strike. I was waiting for it. Waiting for
Lee Sin, don't go in when you shouldn't.
That's all right. We're playing a little bit better than that. And Babip hovers around the mid. And this flash that isn't warded. Ryoma goes for the flash, doesn't get Starkle, so he has to flash himself. Jack attack in there with the pillar. Babip safeguards away, and he's going to be okay.
They might have been able to force perhaps even an ulti out of him there if they decided to chase on forward, but they decided just to stick on and out of there. Aurelia going for the split push as well. So just walking away now towards that lane. Swain does have his teleport available, so for team fighters to break up, he will be there. There's an arrow.
Goes past everyone. The Enchanted Crystal not going to find its target now. Starkle's actually using its shield out of the way. Legacy Genesis, however, used this opportunity to finally get mid-turret. There's a flash from Cheese. There's the ultimate coming through. Never Move doesn't hit anyone. There is the Tempered Fate. Hits 3 members. And instantly, Legacy Genesis disengage.
Yeah, a lot of flashes there. Blown instantly to get away from Cheese. Zami's down. Real Pulse is down. So, that was very well done by him to force it out of it. Just showing how strong, how much respect they need to show for him at the moment. And now they're going in, going strong.
Cheese using the Never Move. Sort of push everyone off. Nuovo Gaming pick up another turret of the game. Legacy Genesis trying to look at what they can pick off here. But
This is going to get harder the longer this game goes for Legacy Genesis to make something happen.
Absolutely. Look, Nuovo at this point in time, they're keeping up with the map rotations. Legacy Genesis moving towards 2 members of Nuovo. Let's see what they do here.
I see that. Oh.
Never Move comes in, but the blue buff finally goes to Rama and only picks up in retrospect.
No one saw it only. It's all good. It's all good, buddy. No one saw it.
Sneak attack 101. As the mid turret finally goes down for Legacy Genesis. They've been looking at that one for at least 15 minutes. They pick up that much needed objective.
Now everything's just sort of calmed down around the map. The buffs have been taken. Most of the turrets have been gone in the terms of the outer turrets there. So these guys are just now looking for an opportunity. Nuovo need to be careful of the engage that Legacy Genesis still have up their sleeve. That arrow, that Tempered Fate, just constantly a worry. And Starkles really needs to look out for Ryoma. Whereas in this side, Nuovo Gaming need to just group up, become a fist, and punch their way through the Legacy Genesis side. So very differing ways to win the game on both of them. Still quite even at the moment, only about 2k the difference between these teams at the moment, or just under 2k.
So Babip going to go for his red, and like Mendrick said, it has slowed down quite a bit. Deadman's Plate comes for the Lee Sin, so moving well into his tanky stage. Decided not to go for the Tracker's Knife, instead just picks up a Sightstone, quite independent of that, goes for the Skirmishes instead. And you see Needly, who does quite the opposite, picks up the Tracking Knives, makes room for other items. A Rylai's gets picked up, and of course the Rod of Age has been fully stacked for a while now on both the Swain and Needly. Trundle top lane, Jack attack moves.
Oh, they found Starkles.
They have actually found him. Watch his health go down. He actually survives this one. And Nuovo there, keep walking through. Wow, okay, so Starkles lives on, and Nuovo challenged that one.
And now they're just rotating around the map, seeing what they can get. There is a split pushing Aurelia down the side there, so she's left to her own devices. She can do quite a lot of work. Just kicking Cheese away. Get off my tower.
Dragon's Rage. There's a Sonic Wave for the Resonating Strike. Not going to follow it up, though. And Nuovo do a smart rotation. Whoa. Nearly. Just do quite a lot of damage. Nevermove doesn't find Babip. Instead, they move up the side lanes. 3 members stronger Legacy Genesis. Zami is there as well. Enchanted Crystal Arrow up quite soon. They're doing it. They're doing it. Minky Whale going to go for the sneaky 180. Sneaky 1 peaky, I should have said. Nuovo Gaming, they are going to be able to go back in the end. But Legacy Genesis, do they use this chance to do Baron? I think they started up.
Yeah, they're really trying to keep Nuovo away from Aurelia, let her get traded back turret, but they might have bit off more than they can chew.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes onto Cheese. The Nevermove has been a bit of a cluster. And look at the Crow doing so much damage. Cheese picks that one up. He Zonya's with the Crows, and he gets the health back. Ryoma finally picks up Starkles, but only is going to go ahead and pick up Reelapole here. Ryoma, look at his health. He does go down for a double kill for Cheese. Sonic Wave Resonating Strike to follow for Babip. Now here comes the Bronze Chase again. Will we see it? Babip, keep running, my friend. Can he make it? Look, Minky can't push anymore, but you know what Nuovo can do? They can start up the Baron again. Babip just loops back around.
Still going for it. Oh, it might have been caught there. No, gets out.
No, there's the Crow. And Babip, wow, takes a spear. Perfect from Only. And with those 4 members down from Legacy Genesis, they're going to pick up an easy Baron.
And just off the back of that, it looked like Legacy Genesis had everything going for them. They were pushing Nuovo around. They had a split pushing Aurelia. Everything seemed to be going good. We've opened up the Baron. I think everyone's back. Oh no, there manages to be a good re-engage. No, it's fine. Aurelia can TP in, turn this around instantly. There was actually the troll pole of a different kind stopping her from getting into that team fight. And Nuovo Gaming take full control of the match. Now they are up 5k gold. They've got a Baron. They've got some extra dragons. It's available. Finally a Wind Drake instead of an Ocean Drake. And now it's really up to Nuovo Gaming. It's their game to lose.
So Nuovo Gaming 5k in the lead. They now push mid, and Minky Whale, he gets out. But look, at the moment, I mean, you got to watch out for Nuovo Gaming. Something like that could happen. When an Ashe gets caught out, she has to flash. There's a nice Tempered Fate to disengage. Reelapole's there with the Cosmic Binding. And Nuovo are pushing down mid. There's nothing Legacy Genesis can do about it.
As one of those cases, yeah, it's a great Tempered Fate, but the problem is that everyone's blown their cooldowns already. Zami had to get out of there. He's now flashless, and it seems to be nothing's been expended on the side of Nuovo. This seems to be an easy... There goes Cheese!
He flashes in, Nevermove gets Babip, and that's really all you need is Cheese. Zonya with the ultimate again, and disengage from Legacy Genesis. I repeat, disengage like a ship is going down. Legacy Genesis being the ship. They lose their middle inhibitor, and Nuovo Gaming. If this is not the driver's seat, I don't know what is.
And it's just such an easy way to get the turret. We're sitting there, we're going to be here, we're going to defend it. Cheese just flashes in, says, no, you're not. If you're going to try and defend it, you're going to take a ton of damage from me. And mind you, this whole time, I'm going to be invulnerable. Oh.
No, Cheese got it. Cheese got it in the end. Ryoma not able to steal that one. Nuovo Gaming look for their 3rd dragon of the game. This time it's going to give them a bit of extra mobility. Always useful. Only picks that one up, and that's the 3rd dragon, ladies and gent. Elder coming up next. Rabadon's picked up on the side of Cheese, and his AP damage is going out of this world. You see him healing, and with a Swain that powerful, I mean, he's going to go and split top.
That's a big wave indeed.
Huge wave. Nuovo pick up another turret of the game, making it their 7th. And they're on to the inhibitor turret once again. What a Legacy Genesis going to do? They're going to send out Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but it's not going to make it. Tempered Fate comes through. Stealthix doesn't go down. Jack Attack still in the fight. Ryoma on the side takes a spear. Jack Attack still lives on. Cheese is in this backline as well. 2v3. It looks like Jack Attack picks up a kill. The Nevermove doesn't hit anyone. But Ryoma, he's going to go down as well. This Swain is massive. And Cheese looks to be pushing this close to a conclusion. 3 members down for Legacy Genesis. And even Jack Attack makes short work of that backline.
And that was just so well done there by Nuovo Gaming. They've really taken control of the game. It seems to be going Legacy Genesis way, getting all the picks they need, and they're just going straight for the jugular. That is the game there, guys.
Ladies and gents, that was a bit blurred lines-ish. But Cheese, in the end, like we said, you put someone on such a comfortable champion, especially since Cheese used to play so much Swain. And you can see there, he moves into the mid-late game stages and absolutely dominates that. Only did quite a lot of work on the Nidalee jungle as well. And someone like Stealthix, who played an awesome Sivir game. I mean, you saw a lot from Stealthix, but you saw a lot from everyone else as well.
She's really showed us why Swain is such a strong contested pick that you need to look out for. Legacy Genesis had a great team in terms of they're looking for the picks, looking to keep him down, make sure they could get there. But Cheese just played his match perfectly, made sure that everything was nice, calm, collected, slowly accumulated all the gold he needed, and at a certain point, Nuovo Gaming just switched on, started collecting those objectives, started getting everyone else further ahead. They could only really look for picks on the side of Legacy Genesis, and they were sort of getting it with Starkles, but then he built a little bit of magic resistance. You can't really kill Stealthix because he has the shield, and from that point on, the superior team fight just came through.
And it felt like Legacy Genesis felt a little bit short there as they were looking for that pick composition, as you said before, Mendrix, and they did get some good picks. Of course, Babip was really on the mark in an early game that he got bullied out of. But at the end of the day, when you have a team fight comp, I think OCS has really benefited from that.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just one of those things where it's a solid, safe way to go about it. If you feel that perhaps maybe in this situation they're going to be able to outplay you, well, you know what? If you go for a solid team composition, at the end of the day, if they've decided to play something more finesse and you weather, well, more finesse in terms of the champions they've picked, and they weather the storm, that's it. You're going to win the fight purely just based off brute force. And that's exactly what Cheese was doing. The rest of the team just barreled behind him. He would jump into a team fight, basically pop his ultimate, pop all his abilities, pop his Zhonya's, and then they were able just to take objectives right off the back of it.
So Nuovo Gaming pick up their second win of the OCS split, which means they remain flawless for the time being. But ladies and gents, we're going to throw back to our hosts, Rogi and Preacher, for our breakdown of the last game of the night.
Thanks so much, Hysteric. Great job, guys, and great job to Nuovo Gaming taking it to Legacy Genesis, who looked nigh unstoppable just a week ago.
Yeah, and to harp on about the point of them looking so unstoppable, they did so well early game, and I think that is in part due to Minkyuel in the top lane.
Sure.
Did you see his impact in that game? He practically got the Triforce and immediately after called the fight. He just said, I don't care how we do it, I don't care how we engage or under what terms, I've got a Triforce, and I'm Irelia. Beautiful.
That's it. When she gets that one holy item, it is Gucci from there on out. But unfortunately, on the back of getting Minkyuel, remember, they did lose 3 of their bans, which allowed Swain to slip through the cracks, and that seemed to be the real winning feature from this Nuovo Gaming squad. The cheese on Swain, it didn't matter how hard they tried to take this Birdman down, they just couldn't do it.
Forget about the fact that Cheese is so comfortable on Swain and he played him before the rework, but also he picked him into a hard counter to LeBlanc, because when you get her below 25% health and there's a Mimic, you get twice the amount of healing.
That's ridiculous. So even if she goes in and they trade, the ulti's just going to heal him even more.
It's a little bit of numbers that you don't suspect, and it goes a long way. It sounds like a joke, but it's legit when it starts ticking up.
So that game was looking very favorable for Legacy throughout it, but after that Baron fight, it kind of all went pear-shaped. So what really happened there?
Well, they thought that the Baron was the correct thing to do. One thing that they underestimated, and we don't want to make this all about the Cheese Show, but it was the Swain. He walked into there, and he more or less just cleaned up the entire pit. He said, guys, why are you here? I'm just going to stand right in the middle of you guys. You guys are low because of the Baron. You've got a lot of MR being reduced because the Baron shreds a lot of MR, and I'm just doing close to true damage on a Swain inside your team. What are you going to do about it?
Look, nothing is the correct answer. Swain just doing Swain things, getting in there once he gets a lot of those items under his belt can be such a menace to deal with. You saw especially in those last fights, even if they did try to focus him down, he would just heal it back up. So they tried to actually do the opposite and take out Stealthix, but his spell shield timing was so on point that the Sigil of Malice just couldn't get his damage out.
And you took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say that they went for the opposite strategy. They can't burn down the Swain. What do? Well, you have no other choice but to ignore him. You can't go, sort of half-ass in the strategy, because if you don't go full-on the Swain, then he's just going to heal up everything. And if you focus all onto him, then you might not necessarily have enough damage to kill him. So because they completely ignored him, went on to Stealthix, it was very unfortunate for them because Stealthix was so good with the spell shields.
Yeah, everyone throughout that Nuovo Gaming lineup was playing impeccably tonight. And Jack Attack doing work on that Trundle. It's been said time and time again, don't give that man Trundle, because when he's got the troll in his hands, that club just gets 12 inches bigger.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually quite like how Hysterics just said it's a troll pole of a different form, because he just knew exactly how to use it.
That's
At the very
right.
least, he was blocking off the enemies left, right, and center. I believe only one time it was used against him when Bard stunned him against his
Oh
own
my
pillar.
god, I was laughing so much.
Oh, we couldn't stop laughing in the green room. But other than that, he was so on point with his
It was one of those moments where everything, your own kit gets turned against you. There's not many champions that can make that happen. So the Bardo really shining through. A great amount of Tempered Fates coming out as well. It was unfortunate that Legacy weren't able to combine that catch potential with the Enchanted Crystal Arrows. The Tempered Fates just wasn't working out for him tonight.
No, absolutely not. And you got to really think to yourself, I've already got the long-range catch on either Ashe or Bard. Why do
Sure.
I need the other one? Maybe I could get a little bit of other utility. Maybe Peel for my ADC and mid laner. Maybe I could get something like a hard engage so I can go in and have Minky follow me up from the back. Obviously, Aurelia can engage, but you'd rather follow up than engage on somebody who builds more bruiser than tank. It's all in the air as to why they picked that Bard Ashe lane. Didn't do too badly at the start, but didn't pull out too well in the end.
If you enjoyed tonight, make sure to tune in next week as well. We're just going to give you guys the schedule so you know what games will be. The games tonight, rather, you've got Alpha Sydney. Unfortunate loss to Fauna, who came out of the gate swinging. Didn't see them last week, but today they showed up. Sin Academy also took it to Reload Esports in a very close game. XR5 maintaining that dominant performance, with Blinky just doing work once again. His positioning in these team fights has been spot on. And Legacy Genesis, which we just saw, losing out to Nuovo Gaming.
Yeah, and what a way to round out the day. Excellent cast by both Hysterics and by Mendrix. The last two games, they were completely insane. Like you said, Blinky just standing in the correct position on his Caitlyn, and the last game, wow. Like, what a show about cheese.
Yeah, it was an absolute massacre. When Swain gets ahead, it's very hard to deal with, which I'm sure they didn't want to give away the Swain, but they had to toss up if they want to give away the Vlad or the Swain. Didn't have enough time to pick it up.
Yeah, and that's really what happens when you lose out 3 bans. You may say it was worth because we got Minky on our team, but 3 bans is a lot because we got a lot of pretty strong champions that not necessarily are strong on their own, but when you put them into a team comp, they can really just fully complete it.
All right, guys, we're going to have a quick look at the overall standings to recap us on where the teams are doing. XL5 and Nuovo are your two front runners right now, sitting pretty on the top of the leaderboard, currently 2-0. Team 4-0, Alpha Sydney, Trident, and Sin Academy, middle of the pack, sitting on that 1-1. Then, of course, Reload Esports and Legacy Genesis. I don't believe Legacy Genesis are actually on 1-1 right now, so a little bit of an error on our part. Sorry about that, guys, but overall, the teams, XL5 and Nuovo Gaming, really coming out of the gate strong here.
Yeah, they just pulled out so well in the first 2 weeks, and I'm excited to see more because they've come out with amazing strategies when they needed to team fight, you know, have that sort of chaos where you don't quite know what's happening. It's certainly not planned by either side in any way. They just managed to keep calm and collected, and they knew exactly who to focus. It was just really nice watching them play.
I really want to see those two teams go up against each other, because I remember thinking back to week 1, Sin versus Nuovo, both these team fighting monsters. It was just clash of teams just constantly battling for that #1 spot here, and it was very entertaining to say the least. And you've got XL5 who have that a little bit more calculated team fights, it seems, with Blinky's positioning being so well and the team being able to protect them.
Yeah, and with the first one that you mentioned, it was a lot like seeing fights over and over and over again, and the only times that we got breaks were when there were death timers, because when they came right back up, they didn't waste any time at all. They teleported just to start fighting again.
Yeah, and if you can't get enough League of Legends action, just remember the OOL is on every weekend. So get together, maybe make a team, jump in that open ladder, have some fun, and also tune in to watch that. And of course, can't forget our brothers over at the OPL every Monday and Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Of course, if you want to see the best of what Oceania has to offer.
I just love watching the OPL over and over again. Hopefully we can see Minky Whale go back into the top lane over there. Didn't perform so well in the recent past, but we'll put that in the past.
He's doing a great job regardless for his team. And of course, next week we got some games coming up for you guys. If you want to see that, Trident Esports taking on Alpha Sydney Sin Academy versus XL5. That's going to be an excellent game. Reload Esports is going to be taking on Legacy Genesis, and the final game of the night, another amazing one. Team Fortnite bringing it to Nuovo.
It's all strategy and it's all team fight. It is chock-a-block
Yeah.
next week because we've seen these teams go up against each other, go up against people at the same standing. Now we want to see people break away from the middle of the pack and really solidify a position in this tournament.
Look, every single team that we've seen have playing on a whole new level of standards that we're not used to. In the OCS last split, we had some teams that would fall behind a little bit early on, and it was clear that some definite work was needed. But split 2, everyone is coming out swinging. It has been an absolute excitement fest from start to finish. So really looking forward to fleshing out the rest of this split to see what teams can really get a cut above.
Yeah, and these teams, they have a long time to prepare for the end. We've only just started with this second week concluding right now. They've got a lot of time to grow, both in terms of their personal skill, playing a lot more solo queue, and also developing the strategies as, coaching and management staff. They just say, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't work, and looking at other teams. Now they have a solid base to look at and to judge and to learn from. Hopefully we can see all of the competition improve.
Alrighty, guys. On that note, it's about time for us to wrap up. From myself, Preacher, the other casters, and the entire production crew, thanks for watching and have a good night.